I'm Bruce Francis, and today's meditation lesson is going to be about what you feel inside. Now, if most people are actually not that aware of the background noise inside their mind. They are aware when they get pictures, or they hear something in their head, or they get visions, or anyway, even if they don't see it the way you're seeing my hand moving, they just somehow see it without seeing it. They know it's there. And what there is that the mind has a kind of a background noise to it. Almost like you could say the white noise that's behind a lot of music and whatnot. And like what can be in music, if that is so quiet that you can't notice it, you cannot recognize what it's doing to you. Now, the classic example that's used for this is that in the 1930s and 40s, which they don't do that much now, people would go to horror shows, horror movies, Frankenstein, Dracula, whatever it was. And they would wonder why, either when there was like some sort of dramatic sound, that all of a sudden their hair would stand on end, and or they'd start getting like this, and sometimes even without anything, they would just do it, and there'd be a dark screen, and people would be going like this, and who knows, Dracula steps out of the background. I don't know what it does. And the way that actually worked is that they got the sound of taking nails across a blackboard and the sound of killing cats. Okay? Which was, I think, it would be politically incorrect today, but back in those days it was fine. It was a meat-eating public. So, and cats, when they're dying, the screaming they make is actually not so different than the way that when babies start screaming and crying, it makes you kind of just contract inside. Anyway, but this was all done at a range below normal human hearing. So it was just a few decibels below, so it was affecting you, but you didn't know it. Well, most people, when they're just kind of sitting around, or they feel, oh, I'm getting a mood coming on. This is no different than you have background kind of sound that's inside you that could just predispose you toward being happy, sad, miserable, angry. And if you play these subliminal sounds inside of a room of a bunch of people, don't be surprised if you don't have a bar fight breaking out in a couple of minutes, because it just gets the system going, just as there are other kind of vibrations. And that's really what these are about, are vibrations. It's not actual sound per se. But these vibrations tune your nervous system to then it sorts for whatever's inside of you that is together with that vibration. Now, if you're locked in a room, as we are going to be with this sequestration, this, social distancing indoors, then if you're by yourself, what these things do is that they can put you through incredible mood swings, really strong mood swings. And depending upon what's happening in your life, something can set them off. Like if you had this sort of a thing going on, and it was, let's just say, a freak out vibration, there's a million things that can cause you to freak out. You hear about what the next dumb move of the government, or a smart move of the government. If you were being predisposed toward having a happy state, not cats, but, cooing turtle doves or something, then, yeah, that's, even though what they're saying may be terribly dreadful, your reaction to it is not going to be about what they're saying. It's going to be about the way that is affecting that vibration inside you. But because you're vibrating at a certain rate inside you, whatever comes at you is going to set you off. And that's positive or negative. So The first thing is that if you can recognize, just recognize what your vibration is and watch how it's changing. We all have, to a certain degree, the ability, if we just focus and try, to change that vibration a bit. So we can make the negative go to the positive or the positive go for the negative. But even more important than that, if you can recognize what that vibration is inside you, it doesn't have to trigger in you a cascade of reactions that are coming from that whatever's happening outside of you, you're going to attach to it. If you could recognize this was going on and you would just take the time to observe this happening, you might be able to even out the curve. So that rather than getting these incredible spikes, because what's inside you is predisposing you toward a spike, you recognize it and you may be able to keep it a lot more even. And then in which case, all right, you know what the facts are, you like it, you don't like it, you agree with it, you disagree with it. I mean, this is what people do in general in life. But you don't get carried away like someone who happens to be in front of a tsunami and the next thing they are just dragged across the ocean. And of course they think that when they're being dragged across the ocean, well, this is what they're really thinking. Actually, it isn't necessarily what they're really thinking. They are simply reacting to the internal vibrations inside them. So what I want you just to consider, that the problem is this. Do you have background noise inside of you? Can you recognize what it is and then try to deal with it in the best way that you can figure out? I'm not telling you how to deal with your background noise. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with flipping out or there's anything wrong with going catatonic in depression. What I am saying is if you can recognize that you have this going on inside you, then watching what other people are saying, watching what's coming across the media, you can just say, oh wow, it's affecting this thing inside me. And now you have a choice. Do you want to go along with it or not? But if you are not aware that it's going on, you're just going to be a little bit like Pavlov's dog, that as soon as it hears the button, the bell ring, it's going to go do whatever it does. So this beginning of this, just recognizing this is going on inside you, it's a good thing. So if you just would sit down again and, as we did before, just close your eyes and try and sit as straight as you can, because the thing you need to realize, this whole business about sitting straight in all these Eastern meditation things is very simple. When your body starts collapsing and going, that involuntarily starts creating vibrations inside you. And then you confuse what's in your mind for something that is in effect being mechanically created. Really hasn't got to do with you and your free will and what you believe and what you don't believe. It's simply the fact that your nervous system is being jangled and you're not getting clear signals moving up and down your body. And those unclear signals will make you predisposed toward thinking a certain way, going unconscious, having your gap out of ADHD or whatever it happens to be. Because when you gap out in ADHD, all these vibrations are still happening inside you, but they're gaining force, so that when you then come out of it, you are predisposed toward acting out what those vibrations are doing to you. And this is something they have found in Eastern meditation traditions for millennia. And they have all sorts of things to counter it. The Hindus try and commonly counter it just by having you say the sound of Om. All the mantras throughout the Far East are about creating counter vibrations to give you the space to where you can recognize what is the actual state of your mind. What is it? What is it inside of you? So, what we're going to do now is just close our eyes, sit straight, just close your eyes, and now just notice what you feel inside. Now, we all have the experience of getting angry at people. And then people say, what are you angry about? What, me? I'm not angry. And it's because all they really are experiencing is that vibration. And they don't actually get what it means or what it's doing to them until it gets to such a feverish pitch. Hey, not feeling good today? Oh, someone's obviously massively depressed. Oh no, I guess today is just fine. And they're not aware of that vibration, which acts out as them being depressed. So what do you feel inside yourself? Don't judge it. Don't think I should be this or I shouldn't be this. You have no idea what you should or should not be. That's an opinion which may or may not actually have any good reason behind it. But just recognize what is the vibration inside you. Now, if you find yourself compulsively talking to yourself, which is pretty common, after all, that's at least one person you can trust their opinion. But if you find yourself talking to yourself, just try and slow down and don't focus on the words. Focus on the vibration that's with those words. And all you're trying to do in today's meditation is just recognize that you have got a vibration going inside you, and just being able to recognize it. And with practice, you may start noticing how what you're feeling inside you is the exact same thing that if you stop in the middle of having some emotion, anger, fear, whatever, greed, anything, you'll be able to feel, and guess what? It's the same vibration. Or anyway, it's a similar vibration. But you just need to be able to get if there's a vibration there. And just observe it. Now, just like with a lot of music, you don't have to do anything with the music. You could do something with the music. You could get up and start dancing or tapping your hand, your foot. But there's a whole lot of music that is just pleasurable to sit and listen to. Well, I'd be the last person in the world to tell you that this vibration inside you may be nice or nasty. But just approach that like music or a vibration you would just want to listen to. You just want to be with it and kind of recognize it. For those of you who are really visual, is it a black vibration or a blue vibration or a polka dot vibration? What kind of a vibration is it? And if you really observe this for a while, you're going to start noticing that vibration is also inside parts of your body. Because when people have really strong emotions, they get in their body, not just in their head. But what is this vibration? I'm not saying you should do anything with it. It could be any one of a trillion things. In later meditation sessions, you'll be shown what to do with it. But right now, you don't want to do anything with it. It's like if you go to a supermarket and you're the inventory boy, you don't make a judgment about what's in the can of this or the package of that. All you got to do is just have a sheet saying we got 47 of this and 38 of that and 22 of this. And on that basis, they restock the store or don't restock the store. They just have to know what's there. All you have to do is just keep on watching it and see if you just can recognize what's on the shelves of your internal supermarket. What's in your mind? What's the vibration? What is it? Now, when vibrations get strong enough, you get feelings. Happy, sad, this, that, greedy, miserable, ecstatic. But again, all of these are composed of vibrations. So first, see if you can feel the vibration. But if you can't, at least does it have an emotional tone to it? Depression's black, anger's red. Those are the standard ones people use. But every strong emotion, it has kind of a tone. That's a sound, that's a tone, that's a vibration of a certain type. So what have you got? What's inside you? And you will be surprised where just by being able to recognize what's going inside you, a lot of the emotional swings you would go through being locked inside an apartment, having to stay there so you don't infect people with the virus or you don't get the virus, that you can chill out, you can calm down, you can make it to where even if it's disturbing, you can reduce it from being the disturbing that makes you go crazy and makes you do things you're really going to regret. Or it just makes you a bit agitated, which is one kind of vibration inside you, that you feel agitated. And when people are cooped up in confined spaces, agitation is a common thing to happen. And that's why in situations you say, be calm. Don't be agitated. Have that vibration chill out so that people don't have explosive emotions. And that doesn't mean that you're going to beat your wife or dog or kids. It may just be you're going to yell at them. Or it may just going to be, as we put it when I was younger, you're going to throw evil vibes at them, which they're going to react to. And then it's going to be like one reacts off the next. Well, you can't do anything about the vibrations they're putting out. You can try, but you absolutely can do something about the vibrations you're putting out. Because once you recognize them and you just sit with them and you just watch them, their power over you begins to reduce. So the first step is just to recognize what's going on inside you. And most of us have really not paid that much attention to it. And this is something that meditation teaches people to pay attention to, so that they can overcome the background noise inside them that makes them predisposed to not being very spiritual, or for that matter, not even being very nice. do the most you can to at least try and do this once a day before we have the next one of these lessons. And if you don't, don't worry about it. You do the best you can, and that's as much as anyone can do. But realize that the process of getting an agitated mind to become not agitated is gradual. And the biggest single thing that enables it to happen is that if you're agitated, you can't force yourself not to be agitated. It's like you're having one part of your mind fight another part of your mind, and my only question is who can win? But just do this the best you can, and so what's inside you? What's actually operating inside your mind? And all this is nonverbal. And I will tell you something else. All this stuff is operating inside your mind when you're talking to people, when you're watching TV, when you're on your computer. Because your mind is always with you. So let's just try and find out what is some of the stuff that is just below the surface. It's not doing you any favors. Well, thank you very much. And until next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.